Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia of No Time for Love called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between 2 ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com and can be heard over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Also heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful author who grew up in Northern Illinois and now in New York State, and has a very, very passionate interest in one of the animals that happens to be roaming around the United States. And if you think of the Duran Duran song, just Hungry Life, Well, she's very passionate about this wonderful animal that you see all over the U.S., and she's got a book out, and we'll be talking about that. And she also runs a conservation in New York State. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful New York State, somewhere where she's dancing with wolves, ladies and gentlemen, author Martha Hunt Handler. Martha, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Mike. It's so nice to be on this show. I'm really psyched.
And I'm very happy to have you on the show as well, too. And once I saw that you have a book called Winter of the Wolf, and you work at the New York Wolf Conservation Center, I just want to get out there and just dance with wolves, just be in that area. So you have a book out as well, too, and you talk about your experiences, based on your personal life and real life experiences, and basically it's a memoir. You also run the New York Wolf Conservation Center, and you also help out with a nonprofit. You also fulfill missions, and you also just help out with the conservation. I just get so excited about wolves. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started.
Okay, so we relocated from L.A. to New York in 1996, and I had always had wolves in my dream, this one black one that was kind of pointing out things to me that I was, I guess, missing. It was only in my dreams. That's the only place I'd ever seen a wolf. I'd lived in Colorado for years and never seen one. And so we moved here, and I started hearing wolves, which I thought was really strange. I'm asking all the new moms I'm meeting at the bus stop, what's with the wolves? Where are they? And everyone said, oh, they must be coyotes. We don't have wolves. And I knew that there hadn't been wolves in New York in 150 years. So one day I just walked into the woods, and I came across an enclosure that had 3 wolves on it next to a trailer. I knocked on the door, and this beautiful young, I think she was at the time 24 years old, a French concert pianist by the name of Hélène Grimaud, answered and told me that it was her desire to open up a nonprofit to be an education facility, advocacy on behalf of wolves, and be a breeding and pre-release facility for the 2 most critically endangered wolves in North America, which are the red wolves, which reside in North Carolina, and the Mexican gray wolves, which reside in Arizona and Mexico, in New Mexico. And she asked me if I wanted to help, and it was just, a perfect time for me because I was an environmental consultant, but when we moved here, it didn't make sense for me to commute all the way to New York City. It was too far away, so I was just going to kind of hang out with my 4 kids and look for volunteer opportunities, and this landed in my lap and couldn't be more perfect for me. It just meets all of my needs and desires, so I'm thrilled.
And also, too, you talked about the possible extinction of the red wolf and the Mexican wolf, and are there any other wolves that are on the verge of extinction, and how many breeds of wolves are out there right now in North America?
So all of North America, hard to know because a lot of them, there's no counting taking place at all. So the 2 species that we deal with, so I'll start with the Mexican gray wolves. When they were very first counted in 1998, there were 7 of them in the world.
Wow, 7? That's 7. It? Oh, my goodness.
They decided to try to save the species, so they brought all 7 of them into captivity, and that's what's starting the whole breeding production program. But as you can imagine, when you come from only 7, we have this really intense algorithm to try to bring back the genetically strongest, most diverse ones that we can. They believe right now in 2020 that there's probably about 190 in the wilds. The red wolves, not nearly as successful. In 1973, they counted 14, brought them into facilities and started breeding from there. North Carolina is the place that they get reintroduced. They have been very hostile to reintroduction, to say the least.
Oh, my goodness.
And so we now believe that there are probably 6 in the wild and that none of those are breeding pairs. So if this legislation isn't overturned, now there are so many court proceedings going on right now. The science says that they need to do it. The Endangered Species Act says that they need to do it, but so far the state has put off reintroducing any wolves. So, yeah, we're really up against time, and it's gotten to the point people laugh about a frozen zoo, but that's what we're at with these two species of wolves, we're banking sperm, freezing eggs, doing artificial inseminations. It's very hard to move wolves around to try to get these genetics up. So if we've got a strong breeding pair, but they don't like each other or have been together 3 seasons and nothing's happening and we need to move one, they don't love planes, they don't love cars. So that's been tough, and that's why we're doing a lot of this freezing eggs and sperm. That's a little easier to move around. But so far in wolves, there has been no successful implantation. It's only been like 5 years, so they're still trying to figure out what might be going wrong, so we don't really know. But it's frustrating, to say the least, especially in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the other factors that's causing the hostility among the red wolves? Is there any other factors that's causing all this hostility and aggression going on with the red wolves?
So it's just miseducation. Hunters believing that the wolves are going to compete for the prey species, which are like deer and elk. Nearby farmers who don't want the threat of wolves hurting their cattle and sheep and things like that. But there are so many ways around it, so many cheap ways to protect your animals, that's not really a legitimate concern. But it's just, wolves have been hated since the beginning of time, right? Little Red Riding Hood, and, there's just been horrible things that have been done to them. And even, Disney makes me so angry because they do movie after movie, and they're really big educators of young kids. Like Beauty and the Beast has got wolves attacking people. I mean, it just doesn't happen. They also put it in Frozen, and, I just wished this day and age that a company that's big like that would do their research and not, further, put forth false information that now young people are growing up believing that wolves are going to attack them, which is just so far from the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, it just makes me think, too, of the phrase, "the bear to eat you, my dear," just takes on a different meaning, right. It seems. I think of that, and I'm like, I don't think you want to eat Little Red as if, I mean, what if Little Red is vegan meat lover? It's like, then what?
I used to have a bumper sticker that said, "Little Red Riding Hood lied." That whole fable was about don't talk to strangers, and unfortunately, they used a wolf.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Grandma, I'm not lying out there. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, in fact, I had some discussions with people about the misconceptions about a number of things, and this is almost like a trend that's continuing. And since we're on the subject of wolves, about the two that they're being extinct, and what is the most common wolf out there, and what is the rarest breed of wolf that's out right now?
So the rarest right now would be those red wolves, since there's only 8 out in the wilds.
Mm-hmm.
The most common wolf, and you've probably heard about it lately because it just got taken off the federal endangered species list, is the gray wolf, and that's what you're going to see all over Canada and coming down into all of our northern states.
Mm-hmm.
But at one time there were millions of them. They were in every single state except Hawaii. They were very prevalent in our landscape. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people have read that, they've been taken off the Federal Endangered Species Act. That's great news, Martha. And I'm saying, oh, no, that's not good news, because now it means that it goes to the states. And the decision of the endangered species list will be left to the Fish and Wildlife Department in each state, and they make their money solely on hunting and fishing licenses. So they make more money having a dead wolf than a live wolf because they can sell a hunting license to them. So that's why you need it under federal protection and not state protection.
Mm-hmm. And so you're pushing more of a federal protection of wolves than relying on states. That's what I'm getting at.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, one more thing before we talk about the book. What states are considered I'm trying to say is, what states are considered the most abusive when it comes to protecting wolves, and was like the most enforcing? So it's like, what states are good or what states are bad?
It would be easier to tell you like the few safe spaces there are, because pretty much every state that has a wolf in it is doing a very poor job and not really listening to science. There's they're really, but they're protected like in Yellowstone. So if anyone anyone that's listening to this and doesn't really understand how a small animal like a wolf is on the top of a food chain, a good YouTube video is How Wolves Change Rivers, which basically shows you that when wolves were taken out pretty much across the board everywhere when white man came and decided to get rid of them, there was nothing that was going after all the ungates, which is what wolves love to eat. That's their basic prey. So that's anything that has a hoof on it, which is a deer, elk, and buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
So when they don't have a predator there, they just overgraze. And so Yellowstone was like a wasteland. The rivers weren't in their banks anymore because the trees weren't there to keep them in their banks, because all those animals, because the prey was like just munching on all the grasslands, all the tree saplings. And so it was just this big flooded out meadows, which looked pretty awful. And then once they brought wolves back, just the smell of them in the air was enough to make these animals behave the way they normally would, which is eat a little, move, and move, knowing that they need to be really careful. There's something around them that's going to take them out. And so immediately that behavior allowed tree saplings to start growing again, and then the rivers started being pushed back into their banks, and the birds started appearing again, and the beavers started appearing because there was trees for them to eat, and just everything kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty amazing, given that they're only 70 to 85 pounds maybe.
Wow.
But because they hunt in packs, they can take down these large prey species. So it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's one more thing which popped up as well too. What's the difference between the red wolves and the gray wolves?
It's just really, different species, and it's very genetic. And they try to, it would be the Fish and Wildlife pleasure if there weren't all these different species, but there are a few different ones. These are sort of like the only two other species besides gray wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And people always ask me, aren't they a lot like coyotes? And they actually are not. They're much more like your dogs, are their very closest relatives. So dogs are like 98.6% genetically the same as a wolf, and it doesn't matter if it's a Chihuahua or, a Husky. They're all 98.6% a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas the coyotes, the foxes are much less genetically very distant cousins.
And that's rather interesting, too. And we'll talk more about your work on the wolves, and we'll also talk about your book.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People, based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're here with author Martha Hunt, handler of Winter of the Wolf on The Mike Wagner Show, and talked about her interest in wolves at beginning age, starting off with a dream and just working away, give a little bit of general information about wolves. And you also work at the New York Wolf Conservation Center, and you also have a foundation as well, too. And tell us more about the New York Wolf Conservation Center.
So we do three things. We educate the public, so we see about 20 to 25,000 people a year when it isn't COVID. We're located an hour outside of New York City. We advocate on their behalf, so when we hear that legislation is coming up and we want to inform all of our followers, which we have about 6 million on various social media platforms, we let them know this bill is about to be passed. We don't want it passed for these reasons. Please write to your congressman, and here's the addresses and how to go ahead and do that. Or if we need a petition passed, we ask them to put their signatures on it. So advocacy is huge for us. And then thirdly, we're a breeding and pre-release facility for the Mexican gray wolf and the red wolf, which are the two most critically endangered wolf species in North America.
Mm-hmm. And also, once again, explain the mission and purpose, and what do you teach people, and what can people learn about the wolves?
So wolves are incredibly important because they are considered a keystone species. So they sit at the very top and pretty much determine the health of an ecosystem, because they take out the large ungulates, so anything with a hoof, and those animals, if they're not kept in check, completely can destroy ecosystems very quickly by overgrazing. So it's really a vital role that they play in all ecosystems.
Mm-hmm. And also you had some programs as well, too, and unfortunately not many are going on because of COVID. And you've got a really interesting one on the Wolf Conservation Center website. You also have not just, Summer Wolf Camp for Kids and Real Wild Your Heart, but you also got Sleeping with the Wolves. And tell us about that program. Sounds really interesting.
So we just have a bunch of tents, which we line up. So I think we have about 10 tents. They each sleep 4 people. And what's cool about that is that wolves are very, they're crepuscular, so they are awake and active the most between dusk and dawn. So at the Wolf Center right now, we have anywhere between 42 and 50 wolves. They get moved around a lot, so it depends. But because they're different species also, they all make different sounds. They all have their own tone to them. And so they howl a lot all night long, which is just the most amazing thing to hear as you're in your sleeping bag, all cuddled up. Mm-hmm. To hear these, because it's like a few start howling, and then the rest of them all pick up, and it's the most amazing, beautiful chorus you could ever ask for. And
how many different type of howls are there, and what does one each distinct howl would tell? Like, say, a certain howl is hi, goodbye, or I'm friendly, I'm gonna attack, or what are some of the different type of howls, and what do they mean?
No one is completely sure. We know that they use it when they get lost from the pack to try to find each other. That seems like a pretty global situation that happens. Mm-hmm. They do it to let one another know we're here and this is our area for our pack, and you're getting too close. Mm-hmm. They can also bark, and a bark means that something bad. They're sensing that maybe a human is nearby or something bad might be happening. Mm-hmm. But in terms of them, like we howl when we have visitors, we have them howl down below before we go to see the wolves, and we think that they howl back to let us know, I heard you, I get that you're coming. But, this is all conjecture. We don't really know.
Wow, that's interesting. And how can people help with the mission and saving the wolves? How can people help?
So please go on our website, nywolf.org. We have different petitions that you can sign. You can find out what bills might be passed near where you live and maybe get involved in reaching out to a congressperson about it. You can find out. We have lots of now, because of COVID, even more and more. We have webinars, and you can learn more about them through those webinars. We have different programs for kids that we do. You can buy swag in our store, sweatshirts, T-shirts, cups, things like that. I think you'll find a lot of stuff to do. You can adopt a wolf. You can give it away as a holiday gift.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be mailing you a wolf. But you can update on
Oh, darn it. I was just going to write a check and send it off to you and have a wolf come over here. I was just going to do that.
I am not kidding, Mike, when I say that people contact and say, okay, it's been like a month. When is my wolf?
Well, Constellation will give you a stuffed one if that's okay. So,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. And what's the website again?
nywolf.org.
nywolf.org. And we'll also talk about the book Winter of the Wolf in just 1 minute. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mia Moshenzia of No Time for Love, called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com and can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, Deezer, Stitcher. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. And also heard worldwide on Himalaya, Geo7, and Radio Public, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author and the president of the New York Wolf.org website, and also the Wolf Conservation Center of New York State, Martha Hunt Handler, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Let's talk about your latest book, Winter of the Wolf, and tell us more about the book and what inspired you to write it.
Okay, so I got that call that no one wants to get, that my best friend's 12-year-old son was found hanging.
Oh.
Yeah. My girlfriend and I were brought up incredibly spiritually. We really believe that, death is not the end. It's part of a rebirth cycle. You live many lives. But when her 12-year-old son died, it was hard to understand any of it. Didn't make sense that he had done anything miraculous already in his life or taught anybody anything. And it's like, how could he be gone? And on top of that, because it looked like a suicide, you get blame and guilt and shame, and like, what if he was, why didn't you have him on medication? Why wasn't he seeing a therapist? And the truth was, he was a very, it certainly looked like he was a happy kid with a lot of friends, very popular. There wasn't any problem in his life. It was just like one day there's a belt around his neck and he's gone. And I started journaling because we could think of nothing to say to one another. We would get on the phone and I'd just be like, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm just not being a very good friend. I don't know what to say. And she'd be like, yeah, I need something. And so I was just journaling away about, what is this about and why can't I help her? And, can I please get some guidance from someone somewhere? And one day I was skating on a lake and found this deer frozen into the surface of the lake. And I'm not sure why at that moment. I was able to channel her son, and he was very clear that he wanted me to write a book starting with his death. And I had never written fiction before. I was an environmental consultant. I wrote basically scientific papers. I was just like, what? But he was really, really insistent, and he did not leave my side until this book was published. And so this isn't so much his story, but it was definitely started because he pushed me to do it, and the kind of death is the same that shows up in my novel. So my novel follows a 15-year-old girl named Bean, and she finds her 17-year-old brother hanging in the same way that this boy was hanging. She was incredibly close to her brother. She felt like he was her soulmate. So his death makes absolutely no sense to her at all. And she sort of can't move on. She can't even grieve because who am I grieving for? This person that I didn't even know if he would have done something like this. Her whole family is pretty lost. And with her best friend, they decide to try to figure out if it maybe wasn't a suicide, if there's any other explanation. So they go on a journey through talking to a lot of his friends, trying to put it together his last day alive, who he talked to, what might have happened. And they do a shamanic ritual. They also read all of his Inuit books. He was incredibly into Inuit wisdom to try to see if there's anything there. And their conclusion is really that it's he never really left them. So there's a wolf that shows up, and that might be him because he believed that wolves were his totem animals, and the Inuit believe that you can go back and forth between animals and humans anytime that you want to.
Okay, so now what I'm trying to get here is that the boy that supposedly got hung with his belt, and he becomes like a wolf, which is a spirit animal. And how would you explain the transformation, from the spirit of the human and the boy transferring over to the wolf? So I'm just trying to figure out how does that the transport from the human over to the animal. Okay, Martha, you still with us? Martha, are you still with us?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I lost you for a minute here. So
it's a belief in many indigenous cultures that there's an ability to go back and forth between the spirit world and the spirit of an animal and the spirit of a human. So how it's actually done, I'm not sure. You have to sort of, suspend your beliefs a little and believe in more spiritual things. And that maybe the wolf, maybe Sam is giving him some insight, is just somehow communicating with that wolf to say, show up, give my sister some belief that I'm still around. That could be.
Okay.
I think, the big points that I'm trying to make in my book, that to move from a place of grief to one of gratitude, to celebrate someone's life instead of lamenting over the years that you're not going to have them, to think more about everything that you did have. My book starts off with a quote from Banksy that says, "They say you die twice, one time when you stop breathing, and a second time a bit later on when somebody says your name for the last time." And I think that's so important that we talk about people after they die, and that we celebrate, on their birthday or at some time, just we collect those stories, and that we, share them over and over again, because that is the essence of who they are. Because all the grieving in the world is not going to bring anyone back.
Right.
But if you can talk about them in what did your soul gain from having this person in your life, which is hopefully amazing things. And that to be looking for signs. I mean, from everything that I know about our spirit guides, our loved ones want to show us that they're out there. And all we have to do is be open to communicating with them and telling them how to show us something. So, for instance, my mother passed away. We decided that she would show me by putting feathers, unusual feathers, in front of me. And so I have collections of hundreds. I mean, we got to the point where I can ask her yes and no questions, and if the feather's pointing one way, I know that's a yes. Everyone can do it different. There's all sorts of signs of whatever meant something to you with this person, or make something completely up, and then start being really open to seeing it, and you'd probably be amazed at what you're going to find. There's a really great book called Signs, actually, by Laura Lynn Jackson, and she just has lots of stories in there about people that friends and friends of friends who have come to her and she's helped them see signs from loved ones, but anyone can do it. It's really easy.
I think that makes sense now, to where it's like you say, like a yes or no, the wind will blow each way. That's starting to make sense. And of course,
Right.
According to the book, The Winter of the Wolf, reconnecting spiritual beliefs, uncovering clues, and to maybe just give a few clues, to about what happened with Sam, and how, who, what, where, when, how, why, beyond material understanding. Maybe just a few clues just to give a person an idea of what to expect.
Okay, so it's a mystery, so I won't give away the ending, but
Of course not.
I think you'll be surprised when you find out what actually happened to him, which isn't what you might think.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem like she's crazy, and what I love about Bean is that she so strongly believes in her intuition, which is another big point I'm trying to make too, is that you need to listen to your gut, which is just this superpower of information that is always picking up good energy and bad energy and telling you what to do if you're listening. And everyone thinks Bean's crazy. Obviously, he committed suicide. There was no one in the house. He's hanging by a belt. There's no other sign of, entry into the house. There's no other signs on him that he had a struggle with anybody. But she so believes in herself and in her knowing that she keeps pushing, and you'll see she gets rewarded in the end.
That's interesting. And can wolves also be used as guides as well too?
Yes.
They can. Okay, good. All right. We just wanted to make sure of that, and also let people know in your website as well too. They can be spirit guides. And where can we find Winter of the Wolf at?
So you can find it pretty much anywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores. You can also buy it on my website, which is marthahunthandler.com.
Okay.
And learn more about me and my blogs and more about the Wolf Center.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. So once again, we're with author Martha Hunt Handler here on the Mike Wagner Show. Martha, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. And before we go here, what can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Martha?
I think I might be writing the prequel to Winter of the Wolf to find out how Sam became Sam, how he became so spiritual, and how he got connected to Inuit. I think that's my next goal.
Oh, wow. And when can we expect that about?
Probably a year from now.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Maybe Jane Goodall.
Okay. All right. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Listen to your gut. It's always giving you information, and the more keyed in you are to it, the more information it'll give you.
Okay.
You can't go wrong if you're listening.
I need to listen to my gut more often, to be honest with you. Forget the head and the heart, the gut. And I think my guts tell me good idea. Once again, author Martha Hunt Handler of Winter of the Wolf, and also the president of the New York Wolf Conservation Center here on the Mike Wagner Show. Martha, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Love to have you back. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Yes, please go to marthahunthandler.com. You can do it all from there. Learn all about me. And if you want to learn about what our wolves do, it's nywolf.org. Thanks so much, Mike, for having me. Really appreciate it. Loved being here.
Sounds good. And thank you for your time as well. Looking forward to having you again soon. And do me a favor, Martha, okay? Can you do me one favor, please?
Sure.
Keep us up to date.
Will do.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.